22nd of June, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi.
That's funny.
What's that?
I was wondering what kufresh chet meant in Hebrew, and there's a word kerach, which means ice.
Okay.
Maybe Korah is as cold as ice.
That's a good theory.
Can find out from the good rabbi. Okay.
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 Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Just 1 second. There we go. Okay. I'm sorry about that. It took a bit of time to get in. Okay. Korah. Very interesting. As it always never fails to, how shall I say, to amaze me. How such a great person like Korah could have just gone, like, how shall I say, be deluded by his desire for honor. You should know that Korah was a great man. He was the ancestor of Shmuel Hanavi. He wasn't a simple person. Okay, let's see let's go. Okay, there's a lot of Rashi on the first pasuk. I don't know who we're up to. Lou, maybe we'll give you a go this time first. Okay, Vayikach Korah.
Vayikach Korah ben Yitzhar ben Kehas ben Levi v'Dasan v'Aviram b'nei Eliav v'on ben Peles b'nei Reuven. And Korah, the son of Yitzhar, son of Kohath, son of Levi, separated himself with Dasan and Aviram, sons of Eliav, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuven. So, Vayikach Korach, Parasha Zo, this Parsha, Yafa Nid Reshes, is well explained. Midrash Rabbi Tanchuma, in the Midrash of Rabbi Tanchuma. Vayikach Korach, Lakach es atzmo litzad echad. He took himself off to one side. 1 second.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry about that. He took himself off to one side. lios nechalak mitoch ha'edah, to be separate from the assembly of Israel. Le'orer al hakihuna, to dispute concerning the kahuna, the priesthood.
Right.
V'zehu shetir game unkelus. This is why Unkelus translates it the Peleg, and he separated himself, as if to say, Nechelak Mishar Ha'edah. He separated himself from the rest of the assembly, the Hachazik B'machalokes, by sustaining a dispute. V'chein ma yikachacha libecha. Similarly, yikachacha in why does your heart take you means lokeach oscha lehafligcha mishar b'nei adam. Why does your heart take you to separate you from other people? Dvar Acher, alternatively, this is in parentheses.
1 second. Okay, so according to the first chat means he took himself to one side. Means he took sides, shall we say? Meaning he created a dispute, a machlokas between him and Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, so there's no subject. It's not really possible to say a subject. Korah, whoever he was, mentions this whole thing, took himself aside. That's according to the first explanation.
Okay. Alternatively, Vayikach Korach, Korach took means Mashach Rashi Sanhedraos Shebahem Bidevarim. He drew heads of the courts who were among them to himself with words, i.e., he persuaded them to support him. Kamo shene'amar, as it says, Kach es Aharon. Take Aharon and Kuchu imachem devarim. Take with your words. Let's see. Ben Yitzchar, Ben Kahas, Ben Levi. Velo he's Kir Ben Yaakov. But it does not mention the son of Yaakov. She bikesh rachamim al shemo. For Yaakov sought mercy.
Al atzmo, no? Bikesh rachamim al atzmo.
I have shemo.
Okay, Shilo Yizoch Shmo. Okay, carry on.
For Yaakov sought mercy over his name. Shelo Yizacher Shemo, that his name not be mentioned. Al Machluk Sam. Pardon?
Machlukosam.
Machlukasam. Shne'emar, as it says, Bik halam al teichad kevodi. With their congregation, do not join my honor. V'heichan nizkar shemo al korach. And where is Jacob's name mentioned with reference to Korah? Behis Yachasam al Haduchan. When the lineage of Korach's descendants is given regarding the platform. I don't know what the platform is.
So that Duchan means when it mentions all those Levites who were eligible to be musicians in the Mishkan or Beis HaMikdash, means that so Olu ala Duchan, there was a special stand, special platform, right, where the Leviim would stand when they would play the music.
Oh, right.
Like a bandstand.
Right. Yeah, there's a very interesting virtual reality item at the wall where you put on a headset and you were in the Beis HaMikdash, and you see, one of the things you see is the Levim standing on this platform.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing to witness. B'divrei Hayamim, in Chronicles.
That's where it's mentioned.
Right. Shne'emar, as it says, Ben of Yasaf, son of Avyasaf, Ben Korach, son of Korach, Ben Yitzhar, son of Yitzhar, Ben Kohath, son of Kohath, Ben Levi, son of Levi, Ben
That's Yisrael, the son of Yisrael. That's why it mentions it especially over here.
Right.
So that's the okay.
Let's see. Vidasan v'Aviram. Vidasan and Aviram. Bishvil shehaya shevet Ruvain sheroi b'chaniyasam te mana. Because the tribe of Ruvain would rest to the south when they encamped.
Yeah.
Shachain
Their rest is not it's like a too literal translation. It means they were positioned, right? The position of where they were encamped was to the south.
Right. The point being that they were adjacent.
Shachain likahos. They were neighbors of Kahos.
Right. Neighbors to Kahath and his sons. The Chonim te Mana, who also encamped to the south. Nishtatefu im Korach. They joined with Korach b'machalukasu. B'machalukasu in his dispute. Oy l'rasha, woe to the wicked one. V'oy l'ishcheno, and woe to his neighbor.
Yeah.
Uma Ra'ah Korach. Lachalok im Moshe, that led him to dispute with Moshe. Nis kane al nisi uso shel Eli Tzafan ben Uziel. He was jealous of the princely position of Eli Safan, son of Uziel. sheminahu Moshe Nasi. For Moshe had appointed him a prince, al b'nei Kahath, over the sons of Kahath, al pi hadibur, by the word of Hashem. Amar Korach, Korach said, Achei Abba Arba'a Hayu. My father's brothers were 4.
including my father, right?
What? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Rabbi.
Shenemar, just continuing.
Oh, Shenemar, as it says, Uvenei Kahath v'Gomer, the sons of Kahath, etc. My English says that they were Amram, Yitzhar, Hebron, and Uziel. Amram, Habachor. Amram was the firstborn. Not Lu, Shnei Vanav, Gedulah. His 2 sons assumed greatness. Echad Melech, one was a king.
That's Moshe.
The Echad Kohen Gadol, and one was the Kohen Gadol.
Okay.
Mi Roy Litol Es Hashniya. Who is fit to take the second, i.e., to fill the next position of greatness that the Kohathite, that of the Kohathite prince? Lo ani, is it not I? Sha'ani ben Yitzhar, for I am the son of Yitzhar. Shehu Shnei la'Amram.
Sheni Amram. He's the second one in line after Amram.
Sheni, Shehu Sheni, that he is the second to Amram. Vahu mina nasi, and yet he appointed as a prince Es ben Achiv Hakatan mi Kulam, the son of his brother who is the youngest of all. Vahareni.
So I have without the vav. Hareni choylek olav. I'm going to dispute with him.
I will dispute with him. Umi vatel es hadvarav, and I will nullify his words. Ma asa, what did he do? Amar yichanes, he rose up. Amad, not Amar. Amad v'chanes, he rose
Yes.
up and gathered together. Masayim v'chamishim Rashi Sanhedraos, 250 heads of courts. Ruban Mishe the Reuven Shechenav, most of them from the tribe of Reuven, his neighbors. Vehem Elitzur ben Shedeur Vachave Rav, and they were Elitzur, son of Shedur, and his colleagues. Uchayotse bo, and the like. Shne'emar, as it says, Nisa'e Eda Ka'i'e Mo'ed, princes of the assembly, those summoned for the meeting,
Right.
for meeting. Ule halan hu omer, and above it says Ella keruei haedah. These are the ones summoned to the assembly. Le halabishan tali sos. He clothed them in cloaks.
Well, yeah.
Shakuran techelis, that they were entirely made of techelis. Ba'u v'amdu lifnei Moshe. They came and they stood before Moshe. Amru lo, they said to him, Talis shekula shel techeles, a cloak which is entirely of techeles, chayeves betitis. Is it obligated in titis? O patura, or is it exempt? Amar lahem, he said to them, chayeves, it is obligated. His chilu lischok alav. They began to laugh at him. Efshar, is this possible? Talis shall mean acher, a cloak of a different type, chut echad shel techeles pot ra. One thread of techeles exempts it. Zo, this one, shekula techeles, that is all techeles. Lo tif tor es atzma. Should it not exempt itself? B'nai Ruvain.
I'd say, what kind of svara? Let's just stop a minute. What kind of svara is that?
It's a kol v'chomer.
I understand, but I'm saying, if I tell you I've got to put on tzitzis, now tzitzis is not the actual garment itself. Tzitzis are the fringes. Correct? So if it's the fringes, the Torah says put fringes of with the color tcheles. So I've got a garment made entirely of tcheles, right? So what tells me, say, okay, the Torah tells me put on tzitzis. You got to put on tzitzis. What kind of thing is it? Well, you know, if one thread, one string of tcheles is going to excuse me. One string of tcheles is going to absolve, shall we say, the garment of the further chiyuv, and you know that that's considered you fulfilled your mitzvah of tzitzis by putting one string of tcheles. So therefore, if you make the garment entirely of tcheles, then for sure they shouldn't need tzitzis. What kind of svara is that?
Well, basically, he's likening it to the Jewish people and the leadership. He's saying garment is like the Jewish people.
So there's one very fundamental point over here. And this is actually how it follows on from last week's Parsha, that Korah was going with the svara that the Torah says, you shall see it, right? You shall observe the tzitzis, and you shall remember all the mitzvahs of Hashem. So Korah came along. If that's the purpose of the mitzvah, you're supposed to see it and remember all the mitzvahs of Hashem. So then, if I already have one thread, and through that, by the way, and the Gemara says, I forgot to fill this in, the Gemara think it's in Tainis. Gemara says, Tcheles doime yam, yam doime rokia, rokia doime kisei hakavod. Okay, how does looking at tzitzis remind one of Hashem? Because tcheles, the color tcheles, which was an aquamarine color, is similar to the sea color. And what's interesting, I can't remember where I saw this, but there's a certain interesting observation, is that there's nothing, no vegetation with this naturally colored like with the color of aquamarine, turquoise. There's nothing naturally on dry land which has that color. So therefore, that's why the color aquamarine conjures up in one's mind the sea. It's a sea color. Yam and when how does the sea get its blue color? From a reflection of the sky. And the blue hue of the sky is a reflection of the heavenly throne. So if that's the case, so the whole idea of seeing blue, seeing tcheles, is in order to remind one of the kisei hakavod. So why, if you wear a garment entirely of that color, so obviously that should be satisfy the thing. The whole idea of tzitzis is to remind one of the kisei hakavod. So if you have a garment entirely of tcheles, then that should do the job. You don't need a tzitzis. That is what Korah based his time on. What did Moshe Rabbeinu tell him? No, you're wrong. You've got to have tzitzis anyway. What was the essence of their argument? That Moshe Rabbeinu said, this is Hashem what commanded us. You're right, there's a certain svaris order to remind us of the kisei hakavod. But let me ask you a question. If the whole mitzvah is to remind us of the kisei hakavod, of the heavenly throne, and that's of that similar color to tzitzis, to tcheles, so why put on tzitzis? Why can't I wear a tcheles colored baseball cap? Or a tcheles colored shoes? Right? Why do you have to have tzitzis? So Moshe Rabbeinu's point was, you're right, there's a certain idea of reminding us of the kisei hakavod, but you're also missing out on the point that the Torah gave it to us in a specific way. And we've got to fulfill the mitzvah. Because just having the color tcheles is not going to itself do its job. Because a person can see something and he may see it one way or he may see it another way. And that's the idea of what it says in the Meraglim. Also he says, you should see the land what it's like. But they could have gone either way. They could have seen the good part of the land and saw the bad part. Just merely seeing is not necessarily going to produce produce the correct result. One's heart has to be attuned to the right direction. And that's when it says, Rashi said at the end of last week's Parsha, they said you mustn't be drawn after your heart and after your eyes. So the Chazal say that the idea is the eye sees and the heart desires, and then the body carries out the Aveira. So the Mefarshim ask, well, if that's the case, that the initiator of the bad thought is the eyes, so it should say, because the eyes is what conjures up the imagination, and then the heart desires, and the body carries out the Avera. So the Mefarshim say it's not. It's two people can see the same thing, and they'll have different thoughts about it, because it's where the heart is leaning. That's how the person will see it. Right? Meaning, person can see a face. I can't think of an example right now. But a person can see something, and where his heart, where his mind is, that's what he will see.
Uh-huh.
So therefore, the Torah says, "I'm going to give told Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm giving you a mitzvah, and we're a mitzvah putting on tzitzis, because it's a mitzvah that will attune the person's mind to spirituality. And when he sees tzitzis, when he sees his string of tzitzis, which is the mitzvah which Hashem has given him, that will put him in the mitzvah mode, and he'll think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that will conjure up in his mind, that will attune him into thinking, if I see this color, this reminds me of Kisei HaKavod. Whereas if it's not a mitzvah, he'll look at his Tcheles baseball cap, and he'll think of the team which wears the Tcheles as in the baseball league, okay? Because it's not a mitzvah, and this is the major thing. I'll discuss it more tomorrow, but this is the major mistake which Korah made. Okay, Be'ez Hashem, we'll continue on this theme tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. Okay?
Very good.
Very good. Have a great day.
Hey, you too. Yeshkayach, Lou.
Bye-bye.